I want everyone in jail. I want all of them arrested, and they've crossed it.
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful.
Don Lemon lectured half of the parishioners about how they really had an obligation to sit there and take it.
These are resistance planning and operation that we're going to follow them on.
Some people are too dumb to be allowed to do the news.
There's a Constitution and the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble.
He's too dumb and doesn't know about the law or the U.S. Constitution. You're going to learn the hard way, sir, how wrong you are.
Look, he's hugging his kid. I just imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here. That's what Sing is about.
You're too stupid to understand the law, but this one also happens to be illegal. You know how it's illegal to harass people, to show up at the abortion clinic? You're not allowed to do that. Well, guess what? That same law also applies to places of worship. There are some very limited, but this is one of them, limits on your First Amendment rights. This is the line beyond which we cannot allow them to cross. I don't care if it takes the National Guard, if it takes all of Pam Bondi's DOJ, if it takes President Trump personally making a visit to this church. I don't care what has to be done, but this is the red line, and they've crossed it. Anti-ICE activists reach a new low. I mean, this is beyond. They've decided now, because there's been absolutely no crackdown by local police, that they can get away with storming churches and disrupting Sunday worship. It happened yesterday, and the city's Democratic leaders, as of noon Eastern today, nearly 24 hours later, have said nothing.
To Don Lemon, I'm going to say this in the nicest way that I could possibly say this.
Yes, President Trump sent this out. Just watch footage of the church right in Minnesota by the agitators, and these people are professionals. No person act the way they are. They are highly trained to scream, run, and rave like lunatics in a certain manner, just like they are doing. They are troublemakers who should be thrown in jail or thrown out of the country. The first to go should be with an fake sleeves bag or him, who is supposedly worth over $30 million, even though she's never had anything but government job. Investigate these corrupt politicians and do it now. Okay, there is another tweet where President Trump actually called out Don Lemon by name. He should be in jail. At some point, I have seen Don Lemon struggling to justify all this. I just had to laugh all through because he will find out.
I did not fight America's enemies overseas and have buddies who fought America's enemies overseas to come home and watch mobs intimidate families in the house of God. I'm not going to stay quiet while politicians and people like Don Lemon participate in this sort of trash. In America, we protect kids, we defend faith, and we hold the line when evil gets in the way, period.
There is the clip of him talking about looking at the young people who are exiting the sanctuary and saying how they're traumatized, they're disturbed, and that's what's necessary like this. And I think that's just disgusting. I think that, we as Christians are never promised peace or comfortability in this life. We know that people will be against us, but that does not mean that we shouldn't call people out when they do something like that or when they say something like that against us. And I think that that is just a terrible thing to say about anyone, that they should be traumatized for the sake of a political agenda. So I am not on board with what he was doing there. I don't think he should have been there. I don't think he had the right to be there. He was part of the group that disrupted our worship service, even if he was just documenting it. Frankly, I don't really care if he was there to just document or if he was there to. He was there, and he was part of what disrupted our worship service. And so I don't think he should have been there. I don't think he should have said the things that he said. I don't think that it was the right time to interview a pastor in the midst of his flock being attacked by wolves. And I just think that he handled it very unprofessionally.
Yes, President Trump retweeted this. A small group of elderly ladies were at an abortion clinic and were given 40 years in prison for violating the FACE Act. I would like to see the same kind of sentence for Don Lemon and the people that broke into that church and did that during services. I have watched legal arguments on this case. Don Lemon is in trouble. Yeah. From what I saw on CNN, they said if Don Lemon stay outside of that premise, like, he will not have any problem. He went inside, disrupted, and his videos are out there. How he was, saying some kind of things. I believe you've seen the beginning of this clip. That should tell you the guy is in trouble.
To Don Lemon, I'm going to say this in the nicest way that I could possibly say this. Jesus Christ died for our sins willingly. At any point, he could have freed himself from that. But it was not the will of God for him to do so. In America, y'all love to come after Christians. Y'all love to tell us that we need God to be good people. If you think that about us, then why do you think it's a good thing to test us? You see, many of us Christians have come from many different walks of life. We have done some horrible things in this life. And it is by the grace and love of God that we are able to stand and love on people and pray for people and speak the way that we do and not have to be the people that we were. But with that, I need you to understand something. We choose not to attack. And instead, we seek the Lord because we have learned that vengeance is his and that those who live by the sword die by the sword. So when you're standing up there with your mic antagonizing pastors, understand that most likely that pastor has to go home and pray because it took everything within him not to have you sleep on the floor. If he felt half the anger that we feel watching y'all do what y'all did, understand God was on your side. Y'all take every opportunity to disrespect Christians, but you'll never walk in a mosque and do those things. You'll never go to other religions and their places of worship and disrespect them, but you claim to be a Christian and disrespect your own? Don, you just placed your foot in some stuff that you don't want to deal with.
I believe you've seen this guy. According to this tweet, Minnesota church attendee says Don Lemon was unprofessional and was absolutely a part of the mob that stormed his church. He was there and he was part of what disrupted our worship service. Sometimes I really like to always see people coming out to say this. Don Lemon thought he could use this for clicks, but instead it has put him into trouble that we might not see him for a very long time. You can do your journalism, not in these places. If he was outside, he could be protected by his First Amendment right. You don't storm a place of worship, struggle to interview pastors in the midst of the demonstrations. That is something dangerous. He was part of the mob, not acting as a journalist. Until he had to travel, he had all the program.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to say I am so sorry for what is happening in Minneapolis and our country, really, but specifically Minneapolis right now.
As you can see, all these pretend Christians, all these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing.
This is a violation of what is known as the FACE Act. And not only do we condemn this act, but tonight I want to demand that the Department of Justice investigate what took place in Minneapolis.
I think I'm going to end here. As of the short clips you see at the end, that is for the white algorithm. I'm always pleading, please always share out the videos. It helps boost the channel so videos can be recommended.
They just make it worse.
Bill Maher, you give us so much. But
also wearing a Be Good pin for Renee Good, obviously. And
just so much nonsense.
I'm pissed off that a queer black woman is up here doing the job of two mediocre.
Power of the law and that no one stands above it.
I don't see both sides in a dogmatic.
The Golden Globe for Best Editing goes to the Justice Department.
This is for her. This is for the people in the United States who are terrorized and scared today.
Yes. Of course, this is for the mother.
Babies are upstairs watching. Y'all better be off them damn phones and watching me.
them. Thank you, everyone. I'm a little in shock.
Here you go.
$1,500.
Let's see if they get the.
Well,
I want to see
it is
them
coming.
get it.
MAGA's going to break up because of Donald Trump's criticism of Robin.
Can sit at either place. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate
So you and your husband were friends with Rob and Michelle Reiner, and
everybody knew that wasn't true. A dangerous relative as a likely suspect. A tip that led to her brother Nick. Rob Reiner and Nick had a heated argument the night before at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, being back on zone. In one interview, she said,
We should have said nothing.
the United States to take this family tragedy in which the president had made no comment.
When people ought to have.
Yeah.
Absolute horror.
Hi, Mel Gibson. I'm in Italy.
There is a quota system. Lasting conversation too.
Yes.
It's like
When that phone call was
You don't have to love Trump. You don't even have to